So hey guys, we are going to discuss question number 22, which is generate parenthesis. So in this question, what you are given integer n, and you have to return the list of all possible strings which you can make using this parenthesis. And the catch also is that it should be valid, like like number of opening parenthesis should be equals to number of closing parentheses. As you can see, for n equals to 3, these all are possible strings. And if you give other example, like for n equals to 2, all the possible string will be, this will be a possible string and this will be another possible string. So these two will be the only possible string, and you have to return this list or vector, you can say. For like how you'll solve this is like how to get intuition. The thing is, when I was solving, I thought to try all possible ways, there is a good method called recursion. Then it can be later converted into memorization or something tabulation, but that is for later. But to get intuition, you must think of recursion. Like you have to generate all possible strings, then you must think recursion. And in recursion, like how to develop a recursive function, a function, there should be some work to do, and for termination there should be a base case. Okay, this will be a general template, I will say, for recursion. How you will solve or how you will approach? As you can see, if you look at the output, the number of opening parentheses is equals to number of closing parentheses. Okay, and there is one more catch, like if all of your opening parentheses are exhausted, you must use a closing parenthesis to make that combination or that string to be valid. As like you can see, number of opening parentheses are 3 and the number of closing parentheses are 3 also. And if you look here, if you like make this string, or if you make it like this, three, let me write this, so this will be invalid, so you won't be adding this to your list or answer vector, you can say. ठीक? So yeah, you got one point, that number of opening parentheses that you will be making in a string should be equals to number of closing. Okay, if all open are exhausted, you must use closing parenthesis. Okay, and if you look at the string, the number of opening parentheses is equals to n and number of closing parentheses equals to n, not just one string but in all the strings that are valid. For example, if you look this, there are 3 opening, 3 closing, and if you look here, there are 1, 2, 3 opening, 1, 2, 3 closing, similar with the other remaining 3 strings. So okay, so what you got to know, these 2 points. And how I'll solve this is very simple. You'll be creating a string. Okay, in your string you'll be having a base case that will be for later, and if you are solving, first you'll pass number of opening brackets and number of closing brackets, and that will be equals to n. So in initial condition you will pass n, and you will pass your vector that will be creating a list. We can name it as anything. Okay, and for a function, you'll, let me rub this so you can see it properly. The function, number of open and number of close. Okay, and answer that I told that you have to pass. This will be a base case, you can discuss it later. But the thing will be, as I said, if there will be opening bracket, or you can say it should be always initialized with 1. For example, let me tell this. Like first you have 3 opening brackets, 3 closing brackets. If you haven't made any string, this is your string that is that is having only empty characters. Then you have to choose a opening string or opening parenthesis. That should be your first string. And if the value of opening is less than closing, like this is your string, then you can have anything here. You can have opening bracket, you can have a closing bracket. It's up to you. You can make both. You can have both the combination. But there's one more catch, that if your opening is 0 and number of closing is equals to 3 or any value which is greater than 0. So what you'll do, for example, this was our string. So if you'll see here, he exhausted all the opening brackets. Then what you should do, you should add all the closing brackets, and you should decrease the number of closing brackets one by one. So these 3 cases we will write in up here in our code. Explained you earlier also. If opening bracket is equals to closing bracket, then what you'll have in string, you will simply append a opening bracket. Okay, then we'll call the recursive function, which will having opening bracket will reduce from opening to opening -1, and close will be remain same. We'll pass the string. A string should be also passed that you are making. Okay, and the other case will be if your opening bracket reaches to 0. As I told, if you exhausted all the opening brackets, then you have to just add the closing brackets. There is no other possibility to do. So you just simply add a closing bracket. You call the recursive function, and what you'll do, if you add one closing bracket, like for your number of open is equals to 3 and number of open was 0, number of close was equals to 3. So if you add one bracket, you'll reduce the count by 1. If you add one more, you'll reduce count by 1. If you add one more, you'll reduce count to 0. Okay, open, close, -1, s, and answer and all. And the last case will be if you have both are not equals to 0 and number of open is also not equals to 0. For example, if n equals to open equals to 2 and close equals to 3, for example. So you can add anything here. You can have opening bracket also, you can have closing bracket also, doesn't matter. So you can have, or you can call as 2 recursive functions where you'll had open -1, close, and s plus a, you'll add an opening bracket. So this will be your first possibility. The second possibility will be open comma close -1, as you are adding a closing bracket. Okay, and in base case, what I just showed you, if your number of open was 0, number of close was equals to 3, like you added all opening brackets, so only possibility will be adding closing brackets. So if you added 1 by 1, if you added 1, it will be 2. If you added one more, it will reduce to 1. If you added one more, it will be 0. As you can see, you exhausted both. So what you will do, if you exhausted both of the opening brackets and closing bracket, what you will do, you just simply push it in your answer. So simple, if number of open will be equals to number of close, then you'll push the answer dot push your string, and you'll return from here. This was a simple code, but the question was very good. Was use of recursion and logical thinking. like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Bye bye.
I don't believe in destiny, I just do what's best for me. Don't listen to my enemies.